a giant story from the world of video games. Over the weekend, a hacker leaked unfinished footage from the next Grand Theft Auto game. And then they threatened to release more if Rockstar Games doesn't reach a deal with them. Yeah. And you know Rockstar, the game manufacturer, they must be so pissed right now. They must be like, how do these kids get the idea that it's fun to commit crimes, huh? Now, luckily, law enforcement has said that they had a lead on the criminal, but then he hid in a car wash for like a minute, and now they've just forgotten about the whole case. In international news, Gautam Adani, an Indian businessman who made his fortune in shipping and coal production, has officially passed Jeff Bezos to become the world's second richest person. Yeah, poor Jeff Bezos. Yeah, when he heard this, his rocket ship immediately went limp. And I see some of you are cheering. You're just like, yeah, Indian guy, number 2 on the list. Don't forget, yes. I mean, it's good news for him, but Mr. Adani's parents are Indian. So they're probably still like, you know, I still wish you went to medical school. A billionaire school, but you know what school is? Being a doctor. Oh, and an update on COVID-19. In an interview yesterday, President Biden said that while we still have a problem with the virus, quote, the pandemic is over. Yes, yeah, but I get why Biden said this. I mean, he just had COVID. Everyone who gets COVID is over COVID. Everyone. As soon as they're done, they're like, all right, it's done for everybody. Let's start this party. Start breathing in each other's mouth. Ah. All right, but let's get to the big story that everyone's talking about. 2 weeks ago, as you all know, Queen Elizabeth died of being old. And it's been a wild 2 weeks since, right? Lots of heated debates from all sides. She was an icon. She was a tyrant. Preserve the monarchy. Get rid of the monarchy. We hate Charles. We also hate Charles. But today, Britain said, hey, let's suppress our feelings as usual because it's the Queen's funeral. And they did it in a major way. So let's catch up on the UK's big day and our latest installment of the Royal Rumble. Queen Elizabeth was laid to rest at one of her favorite castles. But before she was buried, the public was given a chance to visit her casket and pay their respects.
Overnight, that incredible line of mourners snaking through central London. Thousands patiently waiting to pay their respects to Britain's longest reigning monarch.
Tens of thousands from around the world wait for hours to see the Queen's coffin.
With lines now stretching 5 miles to see her lying in state. The predicted wait tonight, an incredible 22 hours.
We've been waiting for 10 hours.
We've been up since 4 o'clock this morning.
Even soccer star David Beckham lining up overnight for 13 hours.
I think that was a reminder of how much people in this country really like to line up. It really is a national pastime. British people enjoy queuing, as they say in this country.
That's an interesting takeaway. Oh, why are these people here? They just like lining up. Is there something else? No, they just really like lining up. I don't think they also like the Queen. But this is true. Apparently, standing in line is really popular in Britain. It's like their national pastime. And before you make fun of them for doing something so boring, don't forget America's national pastime is baseball. You know, which is, yeah, when people act as if someone died, but they didn't. But 22 hours in line, that's no joke. 22 hours. Because remember, there's no iPhone at the end of that line, all right? It's just a box, and you don't even get to open the box. And as you heard, even David Beckham waited in line, which honestly I found so impressive. Because apparently he was offered a chance to skip the queue, and he refused, which is really admirable. I mean, especially when you consider that you don't know who you're going to be stuck in that line with, you know what I mean? Yeah, because at the beginning you might be like, I'm just going to stand in the line, and next thing you know, there's like an Arsenal fan behind him for 20 hours, just like, Man United are shit this season! Arsenal! Arsenal! God save the Queen, I miss her so much! Arsenal! But after days of queuing, today was finally the Queen's funeral. And essentially, the entire country shut down for this thing. You've never seen anything like it. Schools and businesses were closed. I mean, and that's a really great way to honor, you know, someone who also never had to work. But it was intense. It was also a little inconvenient for people. Flights were canceled to avoid the noise. Hospitals even postponed surgeries. And yeah, and if you were supposed to get a surgery on a plane, forget it. That definitely wasn't happening. No, but for real, I think it's actually good. I think it's good that they postponed routine surgeries because like everyone in the UK is distracted today. You know, kind of doctors coming out like, Mrs. Abbott, I'm pleased to say the bum lift was a success. Like, but I needed a hip replacement. And I need a new queen, but you don't hear me complaining. Now get on out of here with that fat ass, girl. Go on. Shake it. Just shake it. So obviously this was a huge deal, right? And by the way, not just for the Brits. Leaders from all over the world flew in to be a part of this funeral. Now, what was a little strange was that President Biden arrived in a 6-car motorcade. Meanwhile, leaders from most other countries had to share buses. I mean, that must have sucked. Like the whole point of becoming a world leader is that you don't ever have to ride a bus anymore. Imagine you're the Emperor of Japan and you have to pretend you don't hear Justin Trudeau shitting in the bus bathroom. And obviously some people are mad that Biden got special treatment. But if you ask me, I think the other world leaders, they're the ones who benefited. Can you imagine being stuck on a bus with Joe Biden? With Joe Biden, the conversation would never end. It's just him like, so then Mr. Prime Minister, I said, come on, Pop. I said, listen, Jack, I looked him straight in the eye. I took his hand, I told him, and then Mama said, what are you moving to another seat? Come on, man. Come on. Listen. And world leaders weren't the only ones in attendance. No, the Queen's corgis were there too, and this was really sweet. Yeah, they got to pay their last respects, you know, see the Queen one more time, and then I assume follow the little trail of dog treats right into the tomb. Very adorable. That's how the Egyptians did it. I'm assuming the English are the same. It's also like, why would you bring the dogs? Why are you torturing them? What, were the dogs like sitting up in the morning like, can we get a treat? And like, I'll show you why there's no more treats. But once the funeral was over, the Queen's casket was driven to Windsor Castle to give her one last chance to experience London traffic. And everyone made it count.
We are watching the royal procession of Queen Elizabeth's coffin. Cheers going up from the crowd, a crowd that has been quiet and somber throughout most of the morning. But now cheers as the Queen's coffin passes by, flowers being thrown from the crowd toward the Queen's coffin.
This is probably my favorite part of a funeral. No, it genuinely is. It's like there's a moment where everyone's sad because somebody's gone, and then there's the moment where you celebrate their life. I love this moment. You know, you're like, oh, ha, 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 wah! It's also weird that they were throwing the flowers onto the car's windshield while the dude is driving. It's a bit risky. The guy's gonna end up like just plowing right into the crowd. Just, oh, I just put those in the back with the Queen. Let's go, let's go. We've gotta keep moving, gotta keep moving. But aside from all the flowers and panties being thrown at the car, it was a beautiful procession. With all the king's horses, all the king's men, basically everyone who couldn't save Humpty Dumpty, they were there. And it was a 3-mile march from Westminster Abbey to Windsor Castle, also known as the Long Walk. Yeah, or as Kylie Jenner calls it, why didn't they take the jet? So it was a long ride to Windsor Castle, but it was worth the wait. Because the ceremony formally laying Her Majesty to rest was not to be missed.
The most intimate, moving moment was when the crown jeweler removed the instruments of state. That's the crown, the orb, and the scepter. Removed them from the Queen's coffin and placed them on the altar. And then the head of the Queen's household broke his wand of office and then placed that on the Queen's coffin. That essentially signals, we're told, that this Queen's reign is over. The coffin then lowered into the vault. There are 10 other monarchs buried there at St. George's Chapel as well.
Yeah, as the world watched on, Queen Elizabeth II, the UK's longest reigning monarch, was lowered into the family vaults. And whether you are for or against the monarchy, you cannot deny this is a landmark moment in history. They broke the wand, and it's official. I will say, and yes, it's because I've read too much Harry Potter. This thing could have just as easily been part of a wizard ceremony, you know? It's like a guy in a cape holding an orb, snapping a wand. By the way, why is the wand getting buried with Her Majesty, but nothing else? I feel like it's kind of a letdown, right? Because they could bury her with the crown and the orb, but they're like, no, we'll hold on to these. Yeah, you can be buried with this broken pool cue. There you go. Ta-ta. All right, that's it for the headlines. But before we go for a quick break, let's check in on the stock market with our finance expert, Michael Costa, everybody. Michael, a lot of money moving, a lot of things changing. What's happening in the market today?
Look, before we get into the markets, I just want to say my thoughts are with the Queen, and I pray that law enforcement finds her killer. Okay, so. Today is a day where we reflect on the Queen's life, we reflect and evaluate our own lives. You know, I took the weekend to consider the direction of my life and which way it's going. And Trevor, I have to say, okay, honestly, now more than ever, I am absolutely crushing it, okay? I am crushing it even harder now because that's what the Queen would have wanted, okay? So I got a hot tip for you, and I got a hot tip for you as well, so pay attention. Or as they say in England, a boiling pointer, okay? Now, behind me, this is the World Billionaire Index. These are the 5 richest people in the world, otherwise known as Bernie Sanders' hit list, okay? But before we do this, Biden saying that the pandemic is over.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that. But I'm still going to keep spraying fruit and vegetables with Lysol, okay? Because I've become accustomed to the taste, to be honest with you, or whatever taste I have left. I mean, to be honest, everything tastes like metal at this point. But here's what I want to talk about. This Adani guy, okay? Where is he? Right there, all right? Look, this is the point where he surpassed Jeff Bezos, becoming the 2nd richest man in the world. Now, how did he do it? Okay? Which one is Adani? I gotta find. Okay, how did he do it? Right here. This is where he started making coffee at home and stopped buying it on the way to work. Boom. $100 million. Think about that with your own life. The number 1 spot is still Elon Musk, okay? You know, Elon just kind of, right here, he just kind of started out as a normal rich guy, and then he realized around 2020 that he can be so annoying, okay? Tweets, memes, talking about crypto, and guess what? That business strategy worked, and look at him. The more annoying he is, the more his value goes up. Now, on the flip side, Trevor, Bill Gates, I mean, geez, right? All the way down to number 5, only $100 billion. What a loser, you know? I mean, you know who I blame, actually? My mom. She's still running Windows 95, okay? Takes her 10 minutes to open up Solitaire. Now, big picture. I know what some of you are thinking. Hey, Costa, you crush it so hard. Thank you, okay? Why aren't you on this list? Well, look, I'm a male feminist, all right? The reason... Why is that funny? Look, I'm a male feminist. The reason you don't see me on this list is I don't want to be on any list that doesn't include any women. Let's be honest. Yeah. Yes. Yes. There should be a woman on this list, okay? Especially a hot blonde chick with big boobs. You know what I'm saying? All right, I promised you a boiling pointer, aka a hot tip. Look at this chart. You see Arnault? You see Arnault? Okay? No one knows who the hell that guy is. So you can be him. Legally change your name to Arnault. I just gave you I just gave you $150 billion. You're welcome, everybody. Thank you very much.
Michael Costa, everybody.